Goeiemôre. Kan julle my sien aan die ander kant? Alright, ek sien daar's 'n paar mense wat my daarom kan sien. Ek is nog so 'n bietjie nuut met hierdie tegnologie. Dis nou die eerste keer dat ons dit doen. Ons moet maar seker die ding in Engels moet doen, but so good morning everybody, South Africa, New Zealand. Perhaps you should type me the message or your question at the bottom, and then I'll try and answer that for you. Has anybody got any questions for me that I can start off with? I see we've got quite a few people on here this morning. Shana Pretoria, Potgieter, Natasha Burger, Olanka Mathieu, Amanda and Johan Skuman. Good morning everybody. Alright, let me start off by telling you a bit more about New Zealand and what's happening here. New Zealand is probably the furthest place on earth that you can go. So if you are going anywhere and you take the longest flight, you'll probably end up at New Zealand. We just about 3.5 hours flight from Australia. It's an island made out of quite a few islands. There's 2 big ones and a lot of smaller islands. Some of the areas that are the best to live in is in the North Island, and the rest of the areas in the South Island. There's about 1/3 of the people living in the South Island, and the rest of the people is living in the North Island. Alright, we've got 1 or 2 questions here. What do you do with your policies in SA if you have a work visa? If you have a work visa, you can cancel your policies in SA once you are in New Zealand. Don't cancel it before the time. You come over, we will help you with getting new policies this side, because your South African policies won't always pay out. You'll probably get a payout on death, and that's not something you want to do while you're in New Zealand. But if you have a claim on anything else like disability and so on, the policy wording asks you to go back to South Africa to appear in front of a doctor there, so that you can get so they can see what the damage is to your body, and then they can organize a payout for you. Other question, sorry, just running a bit fast here for me. You guys are asking a lot of questions. Right, let me get it all up here. Kan ons 'n kampwaandjie invoer? Can we bring our camping, what do you call it in English, camping wagon? Jy kan jou kampwaandjie inbring. Hulle het net sekere reëls en regulasies die kant as die ding eers hier is, om te kyk of dit reg is en volgens hulle standaarde is, en daarvan af sal hulle hom vir jou op die pad sit. Maar maak net seker wat jy moet doen, want daar is sekere papierwerk wat jy uit Suid-Afrika uit moet bring. Bringing your camping trailer and your caravan over, it's probably a good idea. That type of stuff is very expensive in New Zealand. You don't get a wide variety of camping trailers here. You get a few that they import from Australia, but it's massive things, quite big if you look at that. It's not that compact ones that we are used to in South Africa. What are their public transport services like? Like any other country, New Zealand has got its challenges on that. The big city called Auckland currently struggling a bit with public transport, but it's not in a bad state. I'm not going to say it's the best in the world, but it's not in a bad state. They have a problem with getting around in Auckland with normal cars. The traffic is really hectic there. There's about 1.7, 1.8 million people living in that city, the biggest city in New Zealand. So that is a bit of a hiccup. And they are really working on it. They've even got a small tax that they attach to the petrol price in Auckland to better the public transport there. But public transport overall It's workable. It's not the best in the world, so you won't have underground trains and that type of stuff, but you can get around with that. What would you do if you have to stay a month in New Zealand before being paid? Now back to the big question, bring enough money. And I know not a lot of people come over with a lot of money, and I see that on a daily basis. People come here with just the basis that they have, and sometimes people struggle. But remember, you can get paid here weekly, so that's something else to keep in mind. Most of our payments is weekly, most of our payments is bi-weekly, so you get paid as well weekly, and so on. Other question, can we transfer our RA pensions from South Africa to New Zealand tax-free? No, you are going to get taxed, and that comes from SARS, not from New Zealand side, that is from South African Revenue Services. You get a payout on your retirement annuities. This is the only time you get a payout, but you have to financially immigrate. This is the big thing. Remember, there's two different ways to immigrate. One of them is to immigrate when you pick up your bags and you come to New Zealand physically. The other one is to financially immigrate. That's when they take you off the books at SARS and off the books at the Reserve Bank. They open up a final account for you at one of these banks, and all your stuff gets paid out into there. That all your bank accounts get closed. Everything goes into this one account, and then it gets put over to your New Zealand account. Then you are off the books at SARS. You will never be able to pay or be asked to pay money in SARS again or in South Africa again. And then they regard you as financially immigrated as well. Which is the best to stay in? Currently we are in Durban. Is anything similar to Durban? No, there's not so many places that looks like Durban. Places are much better here. We don't have that amount of curry as well. No, I'm just joking. There's enough curry here to make you not think back about Durban. And New Zealand is quite a humid country, so it is something to keep in mind when you are coming over. But to get a place specifically where you were in South Africa, you probably will never be 100% the same. So is the food basic the same this side as in South Africa? Yeah, they've got less spices here. They've really got less spices here. The wife complains she sometimes wants this little soup and that soup, but yeah, you learn to cope with what you have. And the first time when you come over, the food will really taste horrible to you. It really, I promise you, that's something you've got to get it in your mind. The reason behind this is they use much less salt than anything else. The cattle and the cattle and the sheep that are here, they get fed proper food. Even pigs don't get fed the throwouts from restaurants and those type of things. They're not allowed to do that. So the food that you get here, it's quite a pure type of food, if I can may call it pure. It doesn't have any preservatives, or not a lot of that preservatives and stuff in that you used to get in South Africa. So you've got to adapt change your taste around that. But as soon as that, you will have a good experience. I mean, we currently used to the food that we get here, and it's the amount of salt is not an issue to us. We don't throw in more salt or anything else. The amount of spices that you get here, it's not that a lot. But we have found places where we can buy spices. There's basically everybody of every nationality is living in New Zealand. So we've found an Indian guy who sells spices not too expensive, and we go to him to buy a lot of the spices. But I want to say that the big stores, the Pack and Saves, the New Worlds, those guys, they're all bringing in more and more spices, and every month, and every month there is something more to buy from them. What else is there? Vehicles. Is it worthwhile bringing my Ford Ranger? No, you can't bring a Ford Ranger. Come on, jeez, please, guys. Let's quickly talk cars. And each to its own. New Zealand is very far from everywhere else, and to bring cars over that is not really in New Zealand, I would say Mercedes-Benz, BMW. There is Mercedes-Benz, there is BMWs here, but if something would go wrong, you'll struggle to get a part this side. It's very much Toyota, Honda, Suzuki, no Mahindras here. I haven't seen Mahindra, it could be that they are. Stuff like Peugeot, Renault, You just don't see them. I actually saw a Peugeot yesterday, thinking about that back. But if you buy a car, what they call here, they've got imports from Japan. And this is cars that's second hand in Japan, and they bring that in. And these cars are in a very good condition. I actually bought one, but actually bought 3 of these. They are older cars, 2005, 2006, 2007 models in that area. You pay about between $7,000 and $15,000 for a car like that, and it's got about 40 to 60,000 kilometers on. Very good condition, and you always know you will get parts for these vehicles. Other question, best bank to use? New Zealand's got a lot of good banks, so don't fret about that. Just use a bank. They're all very much the same. Property rentals are not pet friendly here. Why? We've got no threat here. There's nobody that really wants to come and break into our houses, so we don't have big dogs. There's a lot of cats here, but it's quite unfriendly cats. And New Zealand cats are very unfriendly. They won't come if you call them. I don't know why. Probably because they don't like me. But anyway, the pet-friendly rentals here is a problem because the landlords feel that your animals will damage their houses. And houses are quite a weird thing. Let me quickly show you something. Alright, let's go to... That's my wall. It's hollow. This is it's made of wood. There's no houses as you are used to this in South Africa, built from bricks and mortar, and the stuff is really, honestly, let's say flimsy. That's the right word. So if your dog would jump up against the walls and that type of stuff, you probably would eventually make a hole in the wall, and landlords are just feeling that they do not want to go that way and bring in dogs. They would rather rent out to somebody else, because there's a lot of tenants in the market currently. If you arrive at a place where people are renting out the house, you could be probably one of 20 or one of 40 people that are coming to look at the house. So there's a lot of people in the market currently trying to get that. Let me quickly see what else is there. Do we have to limit the amount of questions per person? No, not really. Let me see. How is schooling in Auckland? Sorry, the youngest kid I brought with was 22 years when we got here. So I can't really tell you anything about schooling. I will leave that probably for a later stage for Vanita or somebody else who can help us out there. I just got a very interesting comment here from Yaku. Yaku's our local guy here that looks when your stuff comes into the country. He helps with that, checking that out for the government. He says stay away from European cars, and I actually fully agree with him. Stay away from European cars. The previous question regarding Ford was, there is a Ford, and Ford is, especially the newer Fords. I'm not saying the older Fords. The newer Fords are quite popular here, and they are coming into the country, so it's not too bad on that side. I'm not myself a Ford guy, but I would buy a Ford if I really want to have one in New Zealand and know that I can get parts for that. Schooling, sorry guys. Best camper van rental company. Sure, that's a big one. There's quite a few camper van rental companies. I haven't rented a camper here myself, and it's a big thing in New Zealand. Camper vans is big. So I would think basically get the cheapest one out there. The camper van companies that you see in South Africa, like Brits and those places, they are all year as well. So it's not something that you won't find anywhere else in the world. Let's see what other questions you guys got. Would you suggest to create a personal profile to get a better chance to get a house? Okay, this is interesting. When you apply for a house, they want to have references. Now, if you come from South Africa, you don't have any New Zealand references. So get references in South Africa before you come over. If you are renting in South Africa, get from your landlord there, get a good reference there. Get references from your pastor, from anybody else who will say that you are a good person and that they know you and that they are looking after your house as well. So get that. Perhaps bring if you are the owner of a house in South Africa, bring a letter from the bank just saying that you are the owner of the house and you haven't rented, so that they will know it's not that you are hiding anything. On the other side, South Africans have got a very good name or reputation here regarding houses. So if you guys come over and you rent a house, keep it in the same way as what you have found it, and to keep our reputation up there. Why camper vans as temporary housing after arriving? Yeah, you can go the camper van way. There's areas here that they call freedom camping, so you go and park yourself there and you can live there free for, I think, for 3 days in a row. And if that is the way you're going to start to come to New Zealand, that's probably one of the ways to do it. There is a caravan parks as well, which is not that expensive. I think about $16 around. Will my 7 and 15-year-old be able to start finish their year? And I can't see why not. Other question, pension and KiwiSaver. Can you clarify which is better in New Zealand? New Zealand is where South Africa was in 2008 regarding financial services. So things are quite new and happening here. They want to bring in a lot of laws and regulating people and so on, which they haven't done yet. So just keep that in mind. They are a bit behind the times. I'm not saying they're worse off, but they've got one drawback. They don't have very good pension schemes like South Africa have. In New Zealand, you've got government that will look after you and give you a very good monthly pension if you are over the age of retirement, and you can probably live from that. The KiwiSaver is the only one they have here, and KiwiSaver normally have about 3 different funds you can put in: low risk, high risk, and medium risk. So it's not very it's not a bad thing. It helps you save for your old day. But it's not very exciting. There's not a lot of funds. I'm a dual advisor. I'm one in New Zealand and I'm one in South Africa as well. So in South Africa, you've got about 1,200 different unit trusts you can invest your money in. While in New Zealand, you've got basically 3 different types of unit trusts you can invest your money in. And New Zealand hasn't got a very good culture of saving money. So, but I think that in the long run, that is something that will change. The country is adopting to what the immigrants needs, and I think that is something that we really need. Coming to see if New Zealand is a place for us at the end of the year. Any advice on what to do, where to go to get the true feel of what it's like to living in New Zealand? If you want to get the feel of what it's like to live in New Zealand, don't go to Auckland. Auckland is just another massive big city, like Johannesburg, like Rome. Nothing really New Zealand there. If you want to get the New Zealand feeling, you should come to, let's say, a place called Tauranga, probably Wellington, even your smaller little towns. I haven't been to the South Island yet, so that will still happen. And then one day I can probably tell you what the South Island is all about. I am Portuguese and would like to open a Portuguese restaurant in Auckland. Would it work? Are New Zealanders adventurous? Oh no, New Zealanders, the real Kiwi, is not adventurous at all. But luckily, there's about only 1/3 of the population of the country is really still the old Kiwi, the rest is immigrants. So probably Portuguese restaurant could work. I haven't seen too many Portuguese people. I've seen Portuguese people from South Africa. But yeah, I probably would eat at a Portuguese restaurant. Will it be possible to pay your property off before retirement? Okay, this is a difficult one. Normal price of a property starts roughly about, I'm going to go South African terms, about 5.5 million rand to about, I would say, 1.15 million rand. That's what you will pay for a property. They have 30-year down payment plans here. But if you really stick into that and do it in 20 years, yeah, you can down pay your premium or your property in 20 years' time. Do you keep on paying your life insurance in SA or switch to New Zealand life insurance? Good question. Your South African life insurance is much more expensive than your New Zealand one. That's a commercial side of the whole thing, so you're going to pay less. I've had some clients paying 50-60% less, but on average it's about 30 to 40% that you pay less for your New Zealand life insurance. And the good thing is, if you are in New Zealand, you want to use your New Zealand products, because if you need to claim, if you really need to claim, then you do not want to get on a plane back to South Africa so the South African doctor can assess you before they pay out. Other question was here, Christchurch regarding other South African cities. I haven't been to Christchurch yet, so I'm going to keep my nose out of that one. Let's quickly get back on the life insurance side. You probably in South Africa have about between 1 and 3 million rands of life insurance. Now that in New Zealand dollars is between $100 and $300 here, $1,000, which is not a lot. To be quite frank, it's really not a lot. I just see somebody said, right here, I'm currently visiting family in South Africa. Meat prices in New Zealand is currently cheaper than in South Africa. That's good news. Back to getting a payout. If something happens to you here and you have to pay down your house, your $300,000 South African life insurance, which you're paying more for, ain't gonna work here. You're gonna need something that is $500,000, $600,000, $700,000, and best is to take that out in New Zealand and get immediate reaction if you need to claim. I mean, you do not want to wait another year or have to be transported back to South Africa just to claim on that. We believe the warehouse is one of the cheapest shops to buy new furniture. We're coming with very little, as we know the rand is not the strongest. Okay, let's quickly talk about coming with furniture, not furniture, bringing your own container, that type of stuff. It's quite important. You've already paid for your furniture in South Africa. You have it. So, except if you owe a heck of a lot of money on that, or if you have wonderful furniture that you will get a lot of money for. I tried selling my furniture when we were in South Africa, and really, what I could get for that, I could buy nothing this time. I would suggest to everybody, pack a container. I really want to advise you, pack a container and get that container over. You've already paid for that furniture. The warehouse being the cheapest place, it differs. People love specials in New Zealand, so you've got to keep your eyes open. And probably when you are coming, you'll be in the middle of specials. Look at the warehouse, no Leeming. There's Smith's, is an online shop you can buy on. Depending on what you want to buy, you're not going to walk into one shop and buy everything there. It just doesn't work that way. You've got to look around and see what you can get, what is cheap. For 23 years at Sanlam, would love to get a job in administration. Administration jobs is quite hard, to be quite frank. They always look and see if can't we employ a Kiwi first. Now Kiwis, even a South African that's 5 years here, also becomes Kiwis at the end of the day. So they would rather look at to employ somebody in the country than somebody from outside the country on a, I don't want to say it's a useless job, administration, but administration is one of those things you can teach anybody to do that basically. It's not that you need a degree or something. So whatever you want to do is go look at the skills shortage list and see if your job description is on there. It gives you a much better chance to get into the country. And if you are on something like administration or so that you know you are going to struggle to get work, come over to New Zealand and come and speak face to face with people. It's much better than just sending your CV out from South Africa. The first thing they do is they open the CV and say, oh, South Africa, we've got to wait for them 6-8 weeks. No, it's not going to happen. And you are one of 200, 300 CVs arriving there. So it's a bit of a difficult one there. I believe if you are not a resident, you don't get KiwiSaver. That's quite correct. You do not get KiwiSaver unless you are a resident or a citizen of the country. You will be probably issued with that and get a KiwiSaver for a few months, and then IRD, that's Internal Revenue of New Zealand, until they find out, and then they will just pay your money back into your account and stop that. Is it easy to start a business in New Zealand in terms of government red tape, etc.? That's Chantal House. It's very easy to start a business. I want to say you can have your the company registered and everything in about 15 minutes. New Zealand is very open to that type of thing. To make your business work is up to you then. Transports and logistics, employment opportunities, social work opportunities. Social work, as in psychologists and that type of thing, there's a lot of work available in that field. I don't know about transport and logistics employment, but if you look, there probably will be. All right, quickly talk about the amount of South Africans already here. A lot of people think if they are getting on the plane, they will be the only South African here. I would believe there's over 100,000 South Africans already in New Zealand. They get lost a bit once they become citizens, then they become Kiwis, they're not South Africans anymore. So they aren't brought out and said until the day of death, you will be a South African, and that is the amount of people that's here. So I would think any amount of, let's say, people between roughly about 70,000 at current stage that are here, that doesn't have full citizenship but have residence and so on. There's tons of South Africans. Wherever you go, you hear South African. It's just actually very, very nice. So, and if I say you hear South African, even the English that the South Africans speak is different than the English that the Kiwis speak here. The Kiwis have got a very weird way of pronouncing their words, and they're very softer speaking people, so it sometimes can become quite difficult to understand them. It took me 3 months about. So, but yeah. Any advice on CVs? Okay, let's quickly talk CVs. CVs, a few things you got to remember. The Kiwis doesn't have the faintest idea what an ID number is. Huh? What is an ID number? It's nothing. It's something we use in South Africa. They don't want to know your Pretoria address. That actually is a bit of a red flag on any CV, because it gives them the impression that that person is heck away. They don't want to deal with that. It's just too much trouble. That's why I said, look at the right companies, get accredited companies. Accredited companies is companies which are already registered to bring people over. That they just make it easier. The process is not that difficult. It's actually quite an easy process. It's just a bit of a longer process. So if you get the job, it will take you probably, let's say, 9 weeks to start, where the other guy that's already in New Zealand can start the next day. So keep that in mind. But if you're doing your CV, keep it short and simple. Don't brag. Please don't brag. They don't like braggers here. And I know we South Africans, we like to have the manager position, and we like to have this and that. You probably are not going to get the managing position here if you apply the first time. You could probably get the managing position down the line. But to start off, you've got to start tone it down a bit. Even when you look at positions, if you apply as a manager position, and there's somebody in New Zealand that's got a track record in New Zealand, and you apply from South Africa, they are probably going to give that to the guy who's got the track record in New Zealand. I mean, how can they really show you a manager while you are in South Africa? Are there any SAFA places to socky? You guys want to go dance. All right. Now, there's a few places that they do the real South Africa socky thing. I haven't done that yet. I'm born with about 3 left foots, so for me, and dancing is not really the good thing. Did you scale down financially when you started the year? Yeah. I think everybody scaled down financially. We had the house, we had the cars, we had everything in South Africa, and we sold all of that and brought the few money we had there, divided that by 10 to bring it into dollars, and then we started off this side. And we have started over from the bottom. We are here now basically nearly 12 months, or nearly a year in New Zealand. But I could say things are really, it's really different here. You get the safety factor a lot. This is one of the big things. The fact that you are safe in New Zealand. In the mornings, early, little kids go past on their push bikes. They've got this little push scooters here. Every kid got one. And that's one of the things that was a bit of an eye-opener. If that little kid can walk down the street unmolested, not harmed, not being stolen, all the bad things that happens everywhere else, I'm not going to go out on that now. That does not happen here. Point. It just doesn't happen here. It's really, really hectic if something like that should happen, and it just doesn't happen here. So your safety, you cannot ever put a price on that. The fact that you can get old in New Zealand and get a very decent pension at your age from the government, you cannot put a price on that. So in essence, is it better to visit New Zealand for 2 or 3 weeks to hunt for a job? That comes from Willie Krieger. I would say yes. There's no way other to say yes than that. People relate different to you if they see a piece of paper than when they see you in eye to eye. And the other thing is, it shows a bit of commitment from your side. I mean, you can come here and say, I've traveled to the furthest place on this planet and I'm here to look for a job. Much better than just sending a piece of paper. My wife wants to know about earthquakes. Okay, Benny can't ask that. Tons of earthquakes, guys, tons of earthquakes. You just don't feel them. If you want to go on an app called TuneNet, it shows all the earthquakes that there are in New Zealand. But if you look at TuneNet, you'll be become quite scared. We've been here nearly 12 months, and we've had a massive one the other day, presumably outside, not very far from here. I haven't felt one. Other people I've spoken to 10 years here haven't felt one. So earthquakes is one of those things, you just don't feel them. New Zealand wine compare very good with that's my wife saying New Zealand wine compares very good with SA wine. Okay, so anybody wanting wine. Explain medical cover. Quick thing, medical cover. You have got the same type of cover that you basically had in 1975 in South Africa, where you could go to government hospital and being helped. They've got doctors here. You go into the doctor's surgery, and you go there. You pay about between $25 and $45. It may sound a lot, but it's not a lot here. That you pay, and they've got the whole check you out, give you pills. Whatever pills you get, you pay about $5 per prescription per pill for 3 months. So they give you 3 months of pills up front if you need to have chronic medicine. Medical cover works the other way around. Everything that's an emergency is government. Okay, get this right. Everything that's an emergency is government. So if you have a heart attack, you'll go to government first to be helped. If you're on a car accident, you'll go to government first to be helped. It's where you have stuff that's happening to you, like hip replacement. Let's just quickly talk hip replacement. Hip replacements you get put on government. Government can do that. They can do that. It's no problem on that. They do it very good. And probably the same doctor in government as in private will help you. But you'll be put on a waiting list. Well, sometimes this waiting list can be a year or longer. And on this waiting list, all that your private medical does, it brings you to the front of the list. So there's no waiting period on that. Plus, on the medical side, on the private health side, there's certain things that government does not pay for. Government does not pay for all the type of medicines. They do pay for most of the medicines, but the newer type of medicines takes about 20 years to become as part of the government medicine. What can I say? Medicine factory there. And one of those things is that the private health will pay for that new medicine to bring that in. And even if you can get an operation done, let's say you can get an operation done in Australia that is not yet available in New Zealand, they will pay you for 75% of whatever the cost would be in New Zealand. They will pay, give that to you in cash and say, go and have your operation and come back. Can I study through UNISA from New Zealand? Yeah, you probably can study through UNISA from everywhere, anywhere in the world. And they would have exam halls, just like any other place. How is the IT industry in Auckland? My wife got work there, and I am in IT. Auckland is a massive place. Auckland's 1.5, 1.7 million people living there. So if there is IT jobs, you'll probably be able to get a job. When renting a property, do you pay water and electricity rates and taxes separately? You don't pay rates and taxes in a rental property. That's the landlord's baby. You pay water about every 3 months. Some places in New Zealand, water is still free. But every 3 months we get a water account here. That's about roughly about $100, which is about 1,000 rand for 3 months. Electricity you pay once a month. You have a heck of a lot of places where you can go to get your electricity. And the big thing is just to check which supplier is the cheapest in your area. The same with internet and the same with gas. We've got piped gas here. No gas bottles. There's some places that do have gas bottles, but you normally have piped gas here. So you just go to and turn the thing there at the stove, and there's it, fire, work. Medical rate comparisons to South Africa. We paid for 2 adults and 1 child in South Africa. We paid nearly 4,000 rand. That's $400 for our medical aid. And on this side, on the private health, we're just 250 or so odd per month. But as I say, government is very good, but private just steps in there where government lacks. When coming over on an LSD is not drugs, it's look-see and decide trip, and to look for work, what do you state on the visa? I would say be honest. Tell them you are coming to see what New Zealand is. You are thinking of moving here. You do not want to come and work. Remember, you're not allowed to work on a work visa. And be honest with them. They will understand that, because people come every day to have a look at that. I am a teacher. There's a teacher shortage, but struggling to get work. It's quite a hefty story to apply and to become a teacher in New Zealand. I've just spoken to somebody over the weekend regarding this, and even she, who is already 4 months here in New Zealand, is struggling to get that. So that is one of those things. But just keep up. Don't give up. When do you think the doors will close from coming into the country? That's a good one. When will they stop immigration? What has happened is they try to slow down immigration here, and I think it has impacted the economy in New Zealand badly. Remember, most of the people living here is immigrants coming from a different country. You will find a lot of Chinese people here. Really, there's a lot of them. There's some Japanese as well. There's some Indians here. I saw some people from Turkey already. All over the world, they come out here to live. And I mean, this is a growing economy. For them to keep on paying the pensions that they do pay currently, they either got to stop it in total, which will probably lead to, I don't want to say a riot. You guys understand riot's totally wrong, but could lead to a riot. So they have to keep on importing new people. And especially currently, there's a massive shortage in housing. So housing is a big problem in New Zealand. You are going to struggle to find a house. Let me see. So I don't believe that immigration will ever be stopped. I can't see that. They could probably try and slow it down, or if there is a certain nation that is a problem coming over, they probably can, I would say, put things in place that to slow that nation coming in. But I don't. Are markets and outdoor events popular in New Zealand? From Jackie Gomez. Yes, they are. Well, the New Zealanders like outdoor markets. They like outdoor events. Most of the outdoor events that is paid by government. That's quite a nice thing. We had a massive party on Old Year's evening with fireworks and everything else, all for free. Question here: why do people come back to South Africa? Yeah, I've thought about that one quite a few times. I think people are so in the bubble in South Africa that once they come here, that bubble bursts, and suddenly now they have to do stuff. We do not have laborers here that come around to cut your grass for nearly for free, basically. The standard wage to pay somebody to cut your grass would be about 200 Rand per hour. Keep that in mind. So if you want to hire me, that is an unskilled guy out there, and you want me to cut your grass and do your beds and that type of things, I'm going to charge you about 200 Rand an hour, which is $20 an hour. It's not a lot here, but it's still there. And people just don't use that type of laborers. You get the guy that's got the garden services, he does the whole garden services, it's only him. He stops here with his car and his little trailer at the back with his machines on, and he does your garden, and he charges in X amount. I don't have a faintest idea what they do charge, but that's what they do around here. Here we grab the lawnmower and we do it ourselves. And I think that's a bit of a bubble that people are living in South Africa. For everything you need to do there, you've got somebody who can do that for you. And yeah, a lot of the stuff you've got to do yourself. Then the other thing, why people are going back, I think you've got to prepare yourself correctly to come here. New Zealand's really far, and you've got to keep up and decide to stay here permanently. That's a big thing. The other thing is as well, people come here and at the end of the day, I've heard quite a few horror stories of South Africans wanting to become the boss the very first day they walk into the new business where they work, and it didn't gel very happily with everybody else, and they got fired at the end of the day, couldn't find anything else. So that's one of the things you've got to keep in mind. Is it true that the partner of a main visa applicant can study free for 3 months? I haven't heard of that. When you are qualified but only finished grade 10 in school, will you struggle to find work in New Zealand? I'm not gonna go back to the grade 10 thing. If you can work with your hands and you've got a good track record in South Africa, and I'm talking about working with your hands, people like carpenters, roofers, plumbers, that type of thing, and you've got that type of qualification, they won't look at what grade you did at school. That's my feeling here. They need laborers really badly. So, and you get paid quite well. The start off probably for a laborer, it's about $25 an hour. That's roughly where they go. I've got some friends who are earning $45, $50 an hour. Not solid laborers, though. They're more skilled plumbers and these electricians, these type of people, and they're earning quite well here this side. I see on the roofer side there will still be a huge shortage. Shortage there will always be in anything you can do with these two things. I'm talking about hammers and carpenters and roofers and everything else. There's always a shortage in New Zealand because the country is building massively, or they must actually build much bigger than what they are building. They're a bit behind there. Do the companies make use of corporates' gift there as much as South Africa? No, I haven't received anything. It's a good question. I would love somebody to come give me a few corporate gifts. So anybody out there, just ask for my address afterwards. I see Vanita has answered yes. Yes, you can study up to 3 months, but not free. So that is when you get over on the other. How do people find the English test? Practically, I think it's quite Englishy. I don't know. I haven't written itself. Most of the people who write there's an easier one, and if you are doing stuff like teaching, and so it's a more difficult test. The easier one, I haven't heard a lot of complaints. I know one guy wrote it 7 times, but I think he was a bit Afrikaans, but he passed it at the end of the day. So, do you have any idea how successful a pest control company would be? Even working for a pest control company. There is people working here for pest control companies. I think it's probably a difficult thing. New Zealand's got a lot of rules and regulations regarding anything that can kill you. So it's a very safety conscious country. I think probably boring safety conscious, to be frankly at the end of the day. Any strict everyday rules in New Zealand we should be aware of? There's a lot of rules in New Zealand that's not rules written out on paper. Stuff like don't litter. People just don't litter here. And if your dog, the English word, if the dog shits on the grass, you go and pick it up. You just don't let it lie around there. So it's quite a clean country. You'll be shocked once you see it the first time. What else here? Alright, I struggle to see all your questions. I see there's about 190 of them already, but I can only see about 4 at the same time. Do Kiwis accept the South African people easily? The big answer here is no. No. Luckily Kiwis are in the minority currently here, and there's a lot of South Africans, but none of my neighbors in the 1 year I've lived here greets me. I've been in most of their houses when the alarms goes off because they haven't got the finest idea how an alarm works, but they don't greet you. They can walk past you, you can say good morning, let's just keep on walking. How is the fiber optic business there? I'm a branch manager and very interested in working telecoms here. You probably won't get work as a branch manager. Let's get back to the managing thing. Probably will start over as a technician, and that can work for you. Fiber optics, big. Fiber is big here. We've got some of the very best internet speeds all over the country. How's the accounting profession in New Zealand? I don't know. How difficult is it to work for yourself or start a small home business? The big problem here is, and I don't want to go into that, the big problem here is how do you get into the country if you work for yourself? That's one of the questions that we always have. People want to start their own business. They've got a business in South Africa, now they want to come here, they want to continue with their business. Good idea, but your visa, that's a lot of different ways to get in, and it's quite difficult to come in with their visa regulations at current on businesses this side. You've got a lot of things, but I think Vanita is the best person to speak to you about regarding that. Any ideas of opportunities in the freight forwarding logistic industry? That's the big lorries. No, but there will be opportunities, but a lot of different opportunities. Hi Jan, how long did your process take from the day you decided to immigrate to the day you went over? It took about 2 years. Adri Krugel, I hope I pronounced your surname right there. It took about 2 years for me. I had a heart operation in the middle, so it was a bit of a setback, but mostly I see people go for about 6 to 9 months. We came over with residence, so that's a different way of applying. But a work visa, I think the turnaround time is about 90 days now, so not too bad. You can, within 90 days you can be here and start working. Boat and fishing gear, is it expensive here? The big answer here is yes, especially sinkers and that type of stuff. If you can bring your boat, bring your boat. It's always a good thing to have a boat here, because everybody's got a boat or two here. There's tons of boats here. I'm a qualified mobile crane operator. Will I get work easily? I don't know. I've never been a qualified mobile crane operator. But I would believe there's a lot of work opportunities in that. New Zealand's got a lot of ports, so there's a lot of cranes all around. Just to get back to the boat and fishing gear, bring your fishing gear. If you've already got them in South Africa, bring them, just clean them well. I've got to say that for MPI's sake, just clean them well, and don't bring anything that's got honey in there as well. So you guys that carp fishermen, don't bring that baits and dips and stuff with. We don't fish carp here, we catch other fish here. What is the best part of living in New Zealand for you personally? I think personally for me, it's the safety, and the safety I can see around for my family. That's one of the biggest things. Things is a bit slower in New Zealand, to be quite frank. The traffic flows at about 50 kilometers an hour, and what they call in school zones, it flows at about 30 kilometers an hour, and your highways is about 90 to 100. And we drive that speeds. In South Africa, I used to drive about 160 kilometers an hour the whole time. And just to slow back and drive 90 kilometers an hour, it's really nice. I live very far from, or the furthest part in Tauranga. I'm in Tauranga, that is just below Auckland. So for me to drive home, it's about half an hour, and yeah, at about 50 kilometers an hour, it can become boring, but then we listen to the radio. So my husband is looking for a sales representative job. Would it be hard to get a job? I would think yes. Sales representative job is not one of those major jobs, and they probably would think we can teach a Kiwi to do that as well. So I would think come over, and if you look somebody in the eye, they probably would at the end of the day employ you. But it's quite important. I see just Vanita says here, speeding is taken very seriously in New Zealand. It is so. You get demerit points. You get this. You got this amount of points that you start off with when you get your license. To get your license here is very easily. Just walk into a place, take a photo of you, give you a temporary license, and then they post the other license to you. That takes about a week. But if you are caught speeding, they will give you about 20 demerit points, and that's important. I see Jaco Greiling just said, yeah, I'm looking. I know MPI is always looking over my shoulder. We see there are flies and sandflies there. How did you find that there? Yeah, I've also seen there's flies and sandflies here. I haven't seen a sandfly yet. Flies are probably some of the laziest things that you can get in New Zealand. They walk. And New Zealand doesn't have got any fly swatters. They've got an electric thing that you can shock the flies, but they don't have real fly swatters. So if you come bring fly swatters, my wife is currently in South Africa, and I've asked her to bring me some fly swatters, because the flies are really, it looks like they're too lazy to fly, just walk all around the place. Would I get a job as a paralegal in New Zealand, even if the laws are different? You guys got to remember something. We in South Africa, we had a job, and we had about 10 or 20 people working under us and that type of things. You will probably have the same type of job here and be the only person doing that. The guy coming around cleaning out our bins every day is one guy, one lorry. In South Africa, you had about 7 to 10 people coming out to clean the same bins, and he does it at the same speed, to be quite frank. So paralegals, I haven't really seen any paralegals around here. You could probably call it something else. I don't know a lot about paralegals. Somebody else has asked me the other day as well, and I've looked around, but I couldn't find anything like that. I'm in operations branch and warehouse management. Back to the management thing. Don't mind starting at the bottom. Yeah, to meet 160 points, I'm going to throw that back to Vanita. She will probably one day have a live feed like this. This is our first one that we are doing, so I'm the newbie into this, and I think it's actually working. Where somebody said something about his wife. How is the tax scales there compared to South Africa? 30 to 40%. You pay roughly about 30% on your tax. Your GST is also 15%. Remember, you could be double taxed if you don't financially immigrate from South Africa. That's once you earn more than 1 million rand in South African terms. Anything above that, you get taxed here in New Zealand at 30%, the extra 10% that South Africa, or 15% that South Africa would tax you up to 45% there, will have to be paid over to South Africa. But that's also another thing we can help you once you are here. Except honey and meat products, is there any other foods not allowed in a container? I would say most foods that are closed into a package that you can read up and discern out will probably be allowed here. The best is to talk to our MPI guy or look on the website. So, my husband is working for a major steel producer in South Africa for 23 years. They're steel manufacturers. New Zealand hasn't got a lot of steel manufacturing or a lot of major manufacturing. New Zealand is more sheep, cows, and into the building. New Zealand is a young country, so there's still a lot of things that need to be built here. Manufacturing side, I think most of these are outside. We don't have a lot of mines and stuff where we can mine stuff that we can manufacture here, so there's no steel mines in New Zealand, so we will have to import the steel if we want to manufacture anything else. Perhaps you can go into something else, a different type of manufacturing plant, or I would say start off at something lower and see where it goes. Do you have to do your driver's license over there? Presumably you have to redo your driver's license if your South African driver's license has expired for more than a year. That's what I've heard. But otherwise you just walk in your South African driver's license, not the international one, not the AA one. You walk in your South African driver's license, they changed it over for you, cost about 550 Rand. Are there South African products for sale here? Example, yeah, oh yes, Rooibos tea is available here. My wife is one of the unique suppliers in New Zealand. So all that type of stuff that you used to get in South Africa, you can get this side. It's for the women who need to paint and picture and so on. But Rooibos is available and it's available in most of the bigger shops as well. You got your bigger shops, your Pack and Save, and those type of places have got international aisles that they call it. So everything from all over the world. You get all your wasabi from China and Japan and everything else, and your South African stuff, sometimes Mrs. Balls, cream soda, that type of stuff, but a little tin of cream soda costs 35 Rand here, so you got to think, is it really worth it? Is it easy to open bank accounts having a work visa? You can open your bank account out of South Africa while you are still there. You got to quickly listen to me here. You open your bank account from South Africa, you can fund it from South Africa, but you have to appear in person in the bank in New Zealand to activate it. So even if you have money in the bank, you will never be able to withdraw it if you do not come here. So that's a bit of a catch-22 situation. So you open your bank account that side. We can help you open a bank account in South Africa where you can transfer your money cheaply over from South Africa to New Zealand and just sit ready until everything is ready and you have your flight tickets in your hand. Then you put your money into that South African bank account and they put the money into your New Zealand account. Then you come over. Do not fund it before the time, because it could be that something goes wrong and you can't come to New Zealand and then your money is stuck really here. There's no way around that. So can I bring my hunting rifle? I've heard people bring hunting rifles over. I've also heard that those same people say it's a heck of a struggle, especially to get it out from the South African side, because you need a South African police export license for your firearm. And there's presumably a time limit to this, and then it nearly expires once they are leaving South Africa, and then they aren't allowed to bring it over. So there is guns available here. Let's be quite honest. There's a lot of guns available here. You can walk into any sports shops. The guns hang the whole wall. There's no hand guns. There's no pistols. No revolvers here. But hunting rifles, there's a lot. And I've looked at the prices and I thought it's not that bad. And to get the license this side is presumably not a major thing. You need to have a safe, and then you got to sit through about an hour of training with a hunting club, and then you got to do something with a policeman. But it's not as big as in South Africa. A big struggle to get a firearm license this side. And to buy a firearm, it's not that expensive. Question: being a young couple, would you suggest bringing a cube with a bed? I would suggest bring everything you can bring from South Africa. Really bring. We were stuck in limbo with me in the heart operation, so our stuff were in a storage for about a year before it even moved from South Africa to here. So by the time it came here, we haven't had the faintest idea what we had anymore. And opening those boxes were like having Christmas all over. Suddenly you realize some of the stuff I wanted to go and buy I've already had. So yeah, but stuff is expensive here in New Zealand, and the quality that the bedding and furniture is not that great, and you'll see the range or the amount of different styles is also very limited. I don't know why somebody can't come around and just get a bigger range in, especially quality beds. Quality bed is an important thing because you've got to sleep about 8 hours a night on this. And to have a quality bed over here, it's very, very expensive. It's about 4 or 5 times that you would pay in South Africa. Any other questions? Yaku says you can go to the New Zealand website for any other questions regarding what you can and can't bring in. I think that's a session on its own, actually, to what you can and can't bring into the country. They are hectic about anything that comes in that's not supposed to be here, because the country is so small. There are 2 fruit flies that came in. I don't know how the fruit flies came in the other day. They had about the whole army searching for 2 fruit flies, and presumably I think they've caught them. At what age can you get a driver's license? I've heard something like 16 and onwards. I think it's probably learners. Do they say that D5 parts? D5 is a problem all over the world. So they got higher here, HAIER, very nice machines. It works very good. How difficult is it to transfer South African pension and annuities? You've got to financially immigrate. I was worried about the expense of a cube. Okay. What is the biggest concern whilst undergoing your medicals in South Africa? I would say the biggest concern is to be honest with them. Because if I lied, I would have been dead. Let's be quite frank. I have massive high cholesterol, and I do take tablets every day. And with the cholesterol, they asked me to do ECG, and the ECG eventually brought out that I had a heart problem, which I didn't know of, and I had 5 bypasses done in South Africa before I could come over. So that basically saved my life. I'm worried about bringing my electronics from South Africa for insurance purposes in case something goes wrong. What advice can you give me? Insure the contents of your container as you come over. If anything happens, they will pay you out an amount of money and say, there you go. Electronics won't really go wrong. I haven't heard of anybody that really had any big problems with the electronics. Now, good question here. Leonie Flynn asks, which appliances are normally included in a rental house? In a rental house, you get standard. You get a stove. It can either be gas or electric, and you get a dishwasher. And then curtains. No, it's not an appliance, but you get curtains or blinds in front of every window. So keep that in mind. That is a standard thing here. Something that the guys would like or not like is a standard thing is basically most of your garages comes with carpet. Why? I don't know. I really don't know. Which documents can I get in order before getting a job offer in New Zealand to maybe speed up the process? I would say that the following is very important. The first thing you apply for is anything underbridge from government. Underbridge birth, underbridge marriage. You don't need your underbridge marriage really, but if you have it, it's just one more that you have. But you are going to need your underbridge birth certificates, and those are what's the ones that takes the longest. Your police clearance takes about 6 weeks currently, and it's only valid for 6 months. So keep that in mind. It's a bit of a juggle there, but you can always get it a new one. You're going to need letters of where you worked to prove that you really worked there. Make that a bit more specific. How do the churches compare there to South Africa? Basically, Christianity is not a major big thing here. They do have Christians here. I don't think they do not have. But it's not forced down your throat. There's South African churches that is in full Afrikaans. I'm going to a South African church in Tauranga. There's basically a South African church all over New Zealand that's in full Afrikaans. A lot of the South African people go to the English churches for the kids that are in school and are taught English. But churches there's quite a lot of churches here, different denominations. But it's not forced down your throat. Neither is the fact that they don't like Christians also forced down your throat. They're very middle of the road. What else is there? Police clearance is a nightmare, that we all know. Do you need unabridged birth certificates for the adults or for the kids? Everybody that's coming will need an unabridged birth certificate. That's not negotiable. That I know they want. Basically, everyday things in New Zealand, you won't find the following here. You'll struggle to find a pothole. So if you like your potholes, probably New Zealand isn't the right country to come to. Your stuff is working. If we've got an app here on the phone called Fix It Tauranga. If anything goes wrong anywhere that you see wrong, people littering, the street light's not working. If you do see a pothole, you take a photo of that, and that gets sent to the municipality immediately, and within a day or two they fix it. Let me see what. Alright, let's talk about people. I see there's a lot of people that's offering their services these days to get police clearances in 5 days and such things. I just want to actually say, be careful who you hand your money to. There's a lot of chances out there. I'm not saying the specific people or whoever else, they don't have a name here, is a chancer, but there's so many new people coming every day. I basically get one advert per day from people I've never heard before, that I thought, geez, where do you pop up? What makes you so special that the police are going to give you a certificate within 5 days while they didn't want to give it to me? And I was an ex-policeman, so yeah. Can you start applying for PR visa as soon as you get over there on a 2-year work visa? All depending, probably if you've got the expression of interest and you've got enough points. So I can't see why you can't do that, but that's immigration, so I'm not allowed to say anything about immigration. Okay, that's Vanita's side. Anything else, guys? I think we're going to wrap up now. We went about 33 minutes over our normal time, or the time that I allocated for this. Would you want to do this again? This is probably the biggest question now. Did this help you? Do you want to do this again? I just see a question quickly coming through. In schools, do they teach extra languages? You can learn Te Reo, which is Maori language here, and they teach English. Probably one of these days we'll have a school that's in Afrikaans as well. I think so. Alright, Willie Krieger said he will PM me to assist with the financial immigration. Guys, I can help you with that. It's no problem. You can just email me. Quick. If you use, sorry, I missed the one about the New Zealand as a backdoor. Everybody says, yes, please, they want to do this again. I think the next session that we will do, we will try and get Vanita on the line as well. I still don't know how this really works to get a second person online here as well. But we will play around with the technology. I'm born BC, before computers, so this is all new to us, but we are learning every day. Are the state schools as good? I don't know. I've never been in school here, luckily. Alright. Next time, open up with a hawk. Okay. I'll try my best. Guys, I'm going to say I love you, leave you. Stay safe in South Africa. Do your best. Use Vanita as an immigration agent. She's absolutely brilliant. We've got here people that can organize finance for you as well. Sterling Services, they organize finance for you while you are still in South Africa. And myself, my name is Viljoen. I'm a financial advisor in New Zealand and in South Africa, and I live here permanently. I live in Tauranga. And I've previously lived in South Africa, just to make sure you guys know where that is. Cape Town, the driest city in the world. I heard they had some rain, but okay. Guys, that's me. I'm going to sign off. Love you and leave you, and we'll talk next time. Until then, do good.